gather round, get all the kids in the neighborhood. Yeah! We'll sit in circles and clap our hands and clap, clap, clap. We'll jump up and down and scream. Yeah! It's the serial killer story hour, and it's live with Pete Altieri. That's the bald guy from Murder Metal Mayhem. Come on, kids, scream out! Serial killer story hour, yeah! Serial killer story hour, yeah, yeah! How about one more time with some balls, kids? Yeah. Serial killer story hour, yeah! Horns, high, high, high.
How about that? What do you guys think of that one? Thanks to my friends in the Blunt Force band for doing that for me. That was amazing. They reached out, some old buddies that wanted to help out. So I said, why not? Go ahead, give it a try. So we got Kelly Porter here, says her first live. I bet you've never seen an intro like that in your life. And if you guys missed it, because I'm sure some did because it was right at the beginning, I'm going to play it a couple of times for you just because it makes me laugh, and I like to laugh. So welcome to Kelly. My mom is here. She says she loves the new intro. Thank you, Mom. Thank you, Mom. And Voice of Astrology loves it with the kids. Yeah, me too. I mean, I've had people ask me, like for the baby, the voice that says Murder Metal Mayhem on some of the intros, and have asked me who that is. And that's my grandson, Robbie. He was only 2 when he did that. What was funny was he couldn't say, which even adults trip up with Murder Metal Mayhem like that. So I whispered in it. He sat on my lap and talked into the microphone, and I said, murder. And he said, murder, metal, and mayhem. And that's how I did it, stitched it together. And it's funny. And when he hears it now, he's like, wait a second, that's not me. It just sounds so different. So very cool. Well, thanks, Kelly, for being cool, and that this is your first live here with us. So that's awesome. A.R. Hayes is here. A.R. Hayes of Convict's Thoughts. You got to love it. A.R.'s been dealing with some stuff in the hospital, as I mentioned. He had surgery on Friday, and he's doing better. They put a PICC line in him so he can go do home, stuff at home instead of being stuck at the hospital. So we're hoping that you get out of there soon, AR, and back to your abode. Maybe throw on like a cool robe and just chill and not do a damn thing for a while. Just relax. But I'm curious if anybody's familiar with this image on my shirt. And if you are, you might want to stick around to the end. I might have a contest later. Might be good to know who this guy is, because if you know who this guy is, you'll know what movie it's from. But I'll leave it there. And the hat, I'm not a hat wearer, but I bought one to see what they were like. These are really cool from the new store. I've been mentioning this stuff is really great. We sold quite a bit of things on Labor Day weekend. So that's cool that you guys were able to hopefully, enjoy the 35% off, which was just amazing. $16 for a shirt. Great deals on all the merch, not just shirts, but yeah, those guys are great over there at T Public. So definitely good to hear AR is doing all right. Let's see. He says, still in the hospital, but I'm about to make my breakout. So if you guys hear, if you're watching the news at home and you hear this complete wild man running down the street with tattoos all over him and the hair all crazy, that could be AR Hayes. So keep an eye out for him. But hope you get home, dude. I know it sucks being in the hospital big time. I'm glad I was there to give you some relief from that crap, because I know it stinks. So, but welcome everybody to the live. You're in the serial killer story hour, which is a different type of deal than I'm usually doing here on Murder Metal Mayhem. I did not do any videos really last week. You guys may have noticed, and I apologize for the little break, but I got in a real writing groove working on the new book, and I really didn't want to lose the groove, and I just kept cruising through it and got a lot done. So those moments, are always there, but to some degree, but not quite like that. So I took a pause from the channel for a minute, but I've got a video. Actually, I just have to redo it. For some reason, the vocals didn't come out, or no, the whole thing was screwy. I'm not sure what happened, so I got to redo it. But I'll have that hopefully tomorrow. So if you missed the videos, I still got more. This is an Idaho 4 one that I did that didn't record right, but I'll re-record it for you guys. But yeah, I've been busy doing that stuff. So, but good to see you all. Also trying to get things situated so that I can get back out into the studio. Everything's all in place. It's just a matter of getting the timing right because now I have to kind of change things up with the schedule of when I'm recording. But doing lives like this could very easily be done in the studio. The other videos that I usually record in the day will have to be now recorded at night so my wife could be here. So we both don't want to have me have some sort of issue and be stuck out there or something. So the VA gave me one of those medical alert things, so I got one of those, but still, you never know. So she's just trying to protect me. I appreciate that. It's her birthday today, the wife's birthday today, so pampered her a little bit, but she deserves it. She's been doing amazing things to help me and be a great supporter and just a great wife. So let's see. Let's get to the itinerary here. We're going to be talking about Charles Albright, the eyeball killer. This one is so good. This topic is just so creepy and weird. When I first heard just the eyeball killer, I was like, sign me up. Like, I got to know about this guy. And we ended up doing a podcast on him very soon after. I've already put the link in the episode description if you want to hear it. It's episode 124. It was done in 2021. So if you're interested in Albright, there's a lot more in the podcast. We go much deeper into the story. But for this being an hour or less, I'm trying to keep it brief. But yeah, Charles Albright, not somebody that most people know. And that's why I wanted to do him here for this show, because you guys told me that you wanted to, that you guys would, be wanting to see, more and more of the big names, the Gacy's and the Bundys, and you guys are like, no way, we want to see the lesser known. And I love that because that's always been a thing on our podcast. We've always gravitated toward the ones people don't know about. Now we have done obviously the others too. We've done Gacy and Dahmer and Bundy and Gein and H.H. Holmes and all of those guys. Eileen Warnos. We had a female that won a contest that we did, Rebecca, and she won the chance to be on a podcast with us, and she picked the topic, and she went with Eileen Warnos, which was classic. So we had her on for the Warnos conversation, which was great. So like to do contests like that. So stay tuned if you want to be on an episode of 666 Seconds of Murder with me. You'd have to do it fast, so you just got 11 minutes and 6 seconds, right? Very good. So we're just talking about Albright tonight. We're not getting into other topics. Don't forget to like the video. You guys always are good about that, but we can always improve. The video gets out there to more people when you do that. And drop a comment and subscribe if you're not a subscriber. Definitely thanks to the mods out there. Donald Lembo, I know AR's lurking. So we won't have any problems here. We usually have small groups for these lives because it's about a specific type thing that's not related to the Idaho 4. If it's not related to the Idaho 4, there's a lot less interest, which is sad, really. But hopefully, the Idaho 4 people will all get it and start branching out into some other true crime. Drinking a horchata here. Thanks to the members of the Horns High Club, the Mayhem Squad. You guys are amazing. Cool to see some of the Mayhem Squad and Horns High Club merch going out. Mugs and hats and some T-shirts. And somebody bought a hoodie as well. So that's awesome. I have a Mayhem Squad shirt myself, so digging on that. And if you're interested in the merch page, I'll flash that at the end. Link at Teespring where you can go and get all this stuff. They got sizes from small to 5X, and you could mix and match colors, styles. I mean, you could really go crazy with it. And it's amazing prices and really good quality. So Albright, the way it's going to go is I'll talk about him. I'm going to acknowledge some of you guys here before I start, but once I get started, I'm just going to go and explain about this guy, talk about his history, and then turn it over to you guys and let you guys, make comments and stuff, because in the middle of it, it's hard to do that when you're trying to talk and then read, and then I get tripped up sometimes. So that seems to be the better way to do these. So if you want to chat between each other, of course, that's fine. But to me, I won't really see it until I'm done with that. So that's just kind of how it's going to go. But good to see you guys here. We got, let's see here. Purple Smurf says, Pete, if we watch your old podcast and leave a message, do you still see it if it's older? I'm not sure. I pay a minimal fee to Buzzsprout to host it so it doesn't get lost, but I'm paying a reduced rate because we're not currently doing it. So I'm not sure about that. I really am not sure. I don't see, oh, you're talking about on YouTube, I bet. Then I would see the comments, but to be honest, I get so many comments on some videos that it's hard to get through them all. So I don't see them all. But if you're commenting on YouTube, then I would see them if I was looking at the comment section for that video. But that would be somewhat rare on an older video that I would go there and specifically look there. So I may or may not see it, unfortunately. Misleading evidence. Sally Shepherdson is here. Got Purple Smurf, I mentioned. Kelly Porter. Karis with Voice of Astrology. My mom. Donna Lembo. Isles of Shoals. Excellent. A.R. Hayes at Convicts Thoughts. Great to see everybody here. I mean, seriously. You guys, I'm just going through it just to make sure I didn't leave anybody out. Hope I didn't. I don't intend to. Okay, that looks like all of them. So, or at least the ones that commented. So that's fine. If nobody has anything they want to get out responding to this craziness in the eyeball killer, then let's do it. All right, it's going to be a good one. All right, so born on August 10th, 1933 in Amarillo, Texas, Charles Albright was actually adopted from an old school orphanage. Those are some grim places. By a couple, Dell and Fred Albright, and his adopted mom was a school teacher back in the day, when they were pretty mean and did some discipline, some whipping out in the tool shed, so to speak. So, and she was tough on Charles. He was reprimanded often, punished severely, but he was defiant and didn't seem to mind embarrassing his parents out in public. They got in trouble all the time. He would often say as an adult his birth mother was a prostitute, and I'm sure that's the reason why he hated them so much and would just rage out, as we're going to get into. Now, he spent a lot of time with his stepmother, and they shared an odd hobby. And I got to say, of all the hobbies I've thought of doing with my own mother, okay, and speaking of my own mom, when she said she was going to watch this video tonight, I told her, I said, Ma, I hope you didn't make meatballs tonight. And she said that she did. So my mom is just getting brutal and eating meatballs when I'm doing an episode of The Eyeball Killer. It's going to be good, Ma. So sorry about that. But anyway, he spends time with his stepmother doing a very odd hobby of he brings home roadkill and dead animals that he comes across, like birds and squirrels mostly, and they together clean them up and perform taxidermy together. They get pretty good at it, apparently. Definitely a weird thing for a mom and son combo thing, more of a dad son, not to be sexist, but seriously, I mean, that's just odd. Now, he was fascinated with this whole process. Fascinated. He was especially drawn to the eyeballs, but his mom was very frugal and she didn't want to spend any money on the eyes that were made of marbles. And, she didn't like this at all, so she wasn't having it. So she makes him use buttons from her sewing kit. And he didn't like that at all. Thought that was lame. I don't blame him. That is lame. Now, whenever they went to the taxidermy place, though, to get supplies, Charles would gravitate toward this big barrel where they kept all the eyes, like in a big barrel. And he's like reaching his hand in there and like caressing the eyes. And it was very strange. Very, very strange. And he just was obsessed, but she wouldn't buy him. So he was just really pissed that he had to use the buttons because they didn't look realistic. So, but more on the eyes later here. So Charles is really into playing piano at this time. Very artistic kid, painting. Suddenly he turns into a petty theft individual at age 13. So he's doing petty crimes, thieving at 13, gets arrested for aggravated assault. But he was smart. So he was able to graduate high school somehow and enrolled in North Texas University, where he was interested in becoming a medical doctor and a surgeon. But Charles, can't hack that level of smarts, just not that to that level. So he failed to finish the required pre-med training, and they just kicked this to the curb. So he was done. But things continue to escalate. He's age 16. He was stealing petty cash. He gets busted in possession of 2 handguns and a rifle. He would end up doing a year in jail because of it. And then afterwards, he attended Arkansas State Teachers College, but didn't stay very long because he gets busted stealing again. This guy into stealing, just ridiculous. And is expelled, but they don't press criminal charges, but they kick him out. So he's lucky. He's lucky he just got kicked out. He reminds me of Charles Ang, if you guys are familiar with Leonard Lake and Charles Ang, where Ang was always stealing. That's how they wound up getting caught. He was just stealing just to steal. It's just dumb. So, but check this out. While he's in college, his roommate suffers a painful loss of a girlfriend that left him for somebody else. And Charles found a bunch of pictures of her that this guy had thrown away, apparently, in a fit of, mournful rage, I guess. That'd be a cool band name, Mournful Rage. I don't know. He took them out and cut the eyes out of each picture and then stuck them all over the ceiling above where this guy sleeps. Imagine that. You're going through something like this. You come home to get away. You turn the lights off and there's these eyeballs looking at you. And then he sticks them all over the walls of the bathroom, I guess like a common bathroom. Roommate just flips out, but that's messed up, man. That's crazy. But all the cutting out of the eyes from these pictures means that Albright is getting really good using an X-Acto knife. Those knives, the little thin, like a pen with the sharp blade at the bottom of it. You've seen them before with hobbyists and stuff. They I've got one here. My wife is handing me one, which I don't know if that's scary or what, but this is an X-Acto knife with the guard on it. Thank you, baby, because I would have cut myself surely. But all this, cutting out of the eyes is really strange. But he uses these skills to make fake credentials for himself. He says he's got a bachelor's degree and a master's in education. And so at this point, he gets a job as a teacher with this stuff. And at this point, he also gets married and has a daughter with his wife. But all the while, he's forging checks, getting busted again. And this gets him probation at the high school where he was a biology teacher and football coach, which is nuts. Kids absolutely love this dude. The girls were like chasing after him. I mean, it's crazy. I mean, if you see a picture of this guy, he's got like this big like helmet head thing going on. It's off the hook. I've got something to show you here when I'm done with this. He was loved though at the school by everyone, and he could be real suave. He was a good talker when he needed to be, and that was of course the scary part of it. And this is one of the most common weapons of a lot of these serial killers, that ability to blend in, be like a chameleon in their environment, and using that gift of gab for the ones that can do it is even worse. This guy fooled a lot of people. I mean, professionals, all walks of life like this guy. Kind of called him Good Time Charlie, just real friendly, really, really friendly, very helpful. But his wife didn't think so, apparently. She divorced his ass in 1974. But what does he do? Gets mad, let's go steal some stuff. All right. So he goes to a hardware store and steals from them and ends up getting 2 years in prison. Dumb. Charlie's not learning from his lessons at all. Hell no. In 1981, he's busted molesting a 14-year-old girl of a friend of his. That's nice. And gets a slap on the wrist with just a year of probation. I mean, seriously, the guy needs to be locked up. So that's just crazy. And 1985, Albright marries Dixie. That's just like classic. If I was writing a story about this dude, that would be his wife's name. And soon she'll fully support him. So he's not really working. He's doing some odd jobs, delivering newspapers in the morning, but he's basically using that as a ruse to go out and visit prostitutes. He's like obsessed with prostitutes. He's buying these girls food and, party favors and being nice to them, giving them rides and just being like their buddy, and they really trusted him, which is really sick, right? But he ends up inheriting 2 of these rental properties in the town he lived in outside of Dallas called Oak Cliff, which is pretty rough. And he ends up renting them out for some extra income, really the only income he's really got. But during this time here, 2 white prostitutes were murdered and dumped on the side of the road in that neighborhood in Oak Cliff. And so one of the victims, 30-year-old Rhonda Bowie in 1988, not sure if she's related to David or not, maybe, don't know. And the other 33-year-old Mary Lou Pratt in 1990. Some suspected he was doing stuff to these women at these rental houses if they were vacant, doing stuff at his house. I mean, he's messed up. He's messed up. Strangely, the first victim, though, was attacked with a sharp object, if you get my drift, 20 times. The second was beaten up and boom, pow, pow, pow with a 44 Magnum to the head. Bodies were mostly nude. When examined closely by the medical examiner, it was found that the attacker had removed the eyeballs. How crazy is that? Completely done with the precision of a surgeon. No red stuff left behind, completely concealed until you open the eyelid. I mean, that's messed up. And word gets out, you get 2 victims like that, people start freaking out, thinking about, that serial killer word. People get freaked out about it. But in early 91, a 27-year-old prostitute is found in the same neighborhood as a second victim, Mary Lou Pratt, in Oak Cliff. So they're starting to see a pattern here. And she's pow-powed as well a few times, various parts of the body, including the head, very similar to the others, eyeballs taken out as well. Now, another body turns up in 91. This time it's a black prostitute, so it's not totally uncommon, as people might think, that a serial killer would change it up now and then. It's normal. It really is. Some never vary, and some are, doing it often or early, like Albright did. When they check the eyelids, they see that there's no eyeballs there. That's so creepy. And with this one, though, there's some marks around the eyes, and he leaves part of the X-Acto blade in the eye socket. So now they know, how he's doing it. So they're not sure why he was in a hurry. Maybe there was a car coming, don't know. But that victim had been shot with a 44 through the top of her head, taking like half her face with it. Detectives are working hard, obviously, to solve the case. One of them is a female rookie who finds a link between the dump sites of the second and third victims. This guy who she questions ends up turning her on to the owner of the house, who is Charles Albright. And that name comes up on 2 of these properties very close to where these bodies are dumped. So they start wondering about Albright. And one of the detectives actually played softball with him, and they found a hat somewhere in the house, and it said Albright on it. And the guy's like, "That guy plays right field in my softball team." It was just crazy. He just didn't expect it. The guy was just friendly with everybody, as I mentioned. So so they end up busting him for that. Then they found some hair. It was actually animal hair from his truck, and linked it to one of the victims, and it ended up being squirrel hair, which is crazy. So his taxidermy ended up getting him in some trouble. And he's arrested in March of 91. They put Albright on trial December of 91 with mostly circumstantial evidence, and one of the guys who he played softball with, actually the one I mentioned, testified that he heard Albright say that when some women had stopped by the game to meet with some of the players, he said that they were prostitutes, and then he later said that he hated them and he wanted to, attack them all. So definitely messed up. And he's brought up on charges for Shirley Williams, since they said that that was the one they had the most evidence on. A jury deliberates, find him guilty, sentenced to life without parole. He's in Texas, not going anywhere. He's gone now, but he lived for quite some time, finally passed in 2020. And after he died, it was said that he had the fascination with the eyes behind bars. He subscribed to magazines that featured lots of pictures and would cut the eyes out and put them on the walls. And he kept a copy of the first Omni magazine from September of 78 that features a huge suspended eyeball on it. So this dude was definitely into some eyeballs, that's for sure. My sources were, I watched the YouTube video Born to Kill, and also did some research on Murderpedia. But like I said before, when we did the podcast, I did quite a bit more than that. So there you have it. Charles Albright, definitely a messed up situation here with this guy. But anybody wanted to comment on this one? Voice of Astrology says he coveted the eyes because they couldn't afford them. Yes, definitely. The eyes were the prize. He was just obsessed. There was another story about Albright that said that he Hey, Mark and Betty in the UK. That's awesome. Awesome. Welcome. Welcome. So, yeah, but Albright was, he was obsessed with him, and it was for a variety of reasons. He felt like the eyes were like the soul, kind of, getting all deep into that sort of thing. So he was really just super obsessed with it. And, yeah, I mean, it's definitely a unique story, that's for sure. Now, let me see. I've got a short video. It's like 6 minutes long, and a picture of this guy in case you haven't seen him, so you guys can see what this guy looks like. Let's see. I think this is it. I hope it's it. Oh, let me change that.
I've been studying serial killers and other seriously violent criminals for about 30 years. And psychopathy has been defined very carefully by Robert Hare and his colleagues in Vancouver, who made a scale
I got
where
less hair than that guy. I can't
essential
complain.
features are the extreme
Got to say
narcissistic
certain things
features,
so I don't get
which are
dinged with the
superficial charm
powers
and
that
glib
be.
speech, pathological lying, being manipulative or exploitative of other people, then having callousness or hard-heartedness, lack of guilt, lack of remorse, and a superficial or shallow emotionality where there's an insincerity in the emotional display. When I thought about Charles
Gotta love
Albright
that hair.
in Texas and the murders he committed,
I need a wig with that on it.
I put him
Be
a step
awesome.
above Ted Bundy in the sense that there was some level of excruciating pain or torture, but not to the point of extremely prolonged and devious and sort of artful kinds of torture that David Parker Ray used. But nevertheless, these
Toy
were
box killer.
painful experiences for the poor victims.
There you go. Excellent. So we'll give you a little bit more information on that guy, but definitely got to see what he looks like because he's just so creepy looking with that big hair and the gray. And it would look cool for me on a wig. It would go with my beard, but I don't think my wife would like it very much. So let's see. My mom says some sick dude. Definitely, Ma. This guy's off the charts. Sick. It's good they caught him early, though, honestly. I mean, 4 victims is bad, but it could have been 40 or 140. Anybody want to name any other serial killers that are preying upon prostitutes that use the mantra of I hate them, I want to rid them from the world kind of thing? The scourge, that sort of talk. Does anybody want to throw out any names? I can name a few that I could think of, definitely. I'll throw one in the ring. I'm going to say Arthur Shawcross. That's a good one to do. New York, Rochester. He would be a good one. I don't know his body count, but it was up there. It was up there. But he hated him, and he thought he was doing good by taking him off the streets. The Green River Killer would be the classic one. He had 60 something. I mean, he had a lot of victims. I mean, I think he's got the crown in the US for having more, victims than anybody. I mean, Green River Killer was nuts. They even brought Bundy in to try to solve that one, and he couldn't figure it out. Okay, so here we go with the question. I was waiting for somebody to ask, and Voice of Astrology is there. What did he do with the eyeballs? Very good. Does anybody want to venture a guess? I like this. Purple Smurf says to my mom, enjoy your dinner with the meatballs. That's awesome. That's awesome. I'm sure she will. Her meatballs are the best. Her meatballs are the best. So what did he do with the eyeballs? So my mom's saying that's what she wants to know. I'm just holding out a little bit just to build the tension, so to speak. Donna said meatballs and spaghetti. That's a good suggestion, Donna. That's a good one. Very good. Spoken like a true girl from Jersey. Definitely like it some spaghetti and meatballs. I love that stuff. Jody Lee says spaghetti and meatballs too. That's great. All right. So what did he do with the eyeballs? I'm going to give you the answer. I have absolutely no idea. He never said. He never told anybody what he did with the eyeballs. So we're left to wonder what happened to the eyeballs. But in my short story, I mentioned this before. And I'll tell you what, if you want to read it, I'll send you a PDF of just this story if you want to read it. If you don't have, I think it's in Creation of Chaos 3. But if you're listening to this, you want to email me at petealtieri.com. That's my writing email, pete@petealtieri.com. And put in the subject line, The Eyes Have It. I'll send you a copy of The Eyes Have It for free, just so you can check it out. But it's a story in one of my short story collections. And it's about the telltale heart. And I take it, twist it around. And I make the victim a woman instead of an old man. And I make the killer still a male. But is that the only? I'm just trying to think if that's the only difference. I did twist a few things around. But I know the victim went from male to female, but and the relationship between them was not employer to employee, was a landlord to renter. So, but still, it's cool. I like the way the stories meshed between the guy on the floor was kind of like the eyeball killer, and he was obsessed with her eyes and he wanted them. So it was like I blended the two stories together. So if you like that, email me. I'll send it to you. I don't mind doing that at all. So my mom's saying he froze them. That would be, that'd be the smart thing to do, Mom. Freeze them, get them packaged up, put them in the freezer for a later date. If you can't use up all that eyeball. I won't tell you what I did in my story specifically, but all I will say is that a lot of you in the comments are in the neighborhood of how mine ends. Because in my story, I give an account of what I think is just kind of like one of the ways that could have been consumed, so to speak. Sounds like Dylan and her bushy eyebrows. Yeah, exactly. Exactly. Yeah, maybe she was reading The Telltale Heart. I doubt it. Somehow I don't see her reading a whole lot. I see her on her phone 24/7, taking selfies of herself. But to her defense, so does everybody else at that age. So it's all good. Oh, Mom's getting gross here. She says freeze them and then he would eat them like lollipops. Oh man, that's nasty, Mom. You could dip. What you do is you get some long trays and put like fruit juice in them, and then put the eyeball on the stick in the juice, and then it would freeze. So you'd have the juice, and then the center would be the eyeball. That would be kind of cool. You could do it clear so you could see the eyeball inside, and you're like licking like a popsicle. There you go. Maybe we'll go into business, Mom. We'll make those.
I hear you.
You wouldn't believe what I had to do to find out information about how do you store eyeballs. I called like taxidermy places. They probably have me on like 10 lists of this guy's nuts. But I kept telling him I'm a writer and I'm trying to find this out. Googled different things. You know, this was before the AI thing. So, you know, I don't know. It was hard to get the information. So I did the best I could with what I had. But it was funny. So yeah, so the Donna says she's picturing the lollipops. Yeah, that's pretty nasty. That's my mom. That's my mom out there. She's great. So anybody have anything they want to add to this discussion about this guy? I mean, had you heard of him before? There's a ton of things he was on. Like, let me see if I can find it. Of course, now I can't. There was a bunch of stuff that he was like episode this of this series. There's like 10 things that he's in, like his story is in, I should say. I'd never seen an interview with him. That would be cool to see if there's any of them out there. But I don't know if he's done any. So I mean, Texas lets him do them. So, but I don't know if he been into that or not. So yeah, definitely a strange one for sure. And so yeah, so does anybody know the image on this shirt? I'll back up a little bit. Let me take my brakes off. I'll back up a little bit, give you a little bit of a hint. Luca Brasi sleeps with the fishes. Sleeps with the fishes. So what does that mean? Well, you have to have watched a movie that was very popular in the 70s, and that will give you the answer. What movie from the 70s featured a great cast, mostly, of course, Italian cast? And I see one right answer there. I'm going to give you guys a good minute to answer. And if you know what movie the Luca Brasi Sleeps with the Fishes comes from, I'm going to send you one of these Murder Metal Mayhem stickers. And all you got to do is email me. Email me, Pete at murdermetalmayhem.com, and put in the subject line stickers or sticker, something like that. Then I'll send you one of these, but US only. I know last week I did one out of the US, but that was just because I said I would. So US only, unfortunately. That's just expensive to send stuff all over, as you guys know. I mean, a sticker's not that bad, but they add up, that's for sure. That's for sure. Let's see here. Mark and Betty said, can you remember the early days when they said BK's car would be a treasure trove? Yeah. That's what they thought, right? They thought that they were going to find all sorts of evidence in there, and they got really nothing. There was nothing in there. I mean, it was virtually nothing there. But that's what they thought, right? They thought a lot of things, but they came up short. There's the link to the new web store on TeePublic. It's great. Like I said, I don't want to keep preaching it, but people have been asking for months about merch, and now I've got everything under the sun. If there's something in your house that's not moving, it could have Murder Metal Mayhem logos put on it. So you better be careful. Better be careful. You better keep moving, or you may get one like on your forehead or something, right? Maybe. Let's see. Anything else I want to mention? Let's see. Channel membership, if anybody's interested, I got 2 tiers, $1.99 and $2.99. I really appreciate those of you that do the membership. I'm going to start doing more stuff for the membership now that I've got in touch with this band, the Blunt Force band, that did the intro for tonight. I'm going to play the intro again in case anybody's here that missed it, because I'm pretty happy with the way it turned out. I mean, they perfectly expressed what I was going for. So let's check that out one more time here. Let me get it going. Here we go.
Oh, it's time to gather round, get all the kids in the neighborhood. Yeah! We'll sit in circles and clap our hands and clap, clap, clap. We'll jump up and down and scream. Yeah! It's the serial killer story hour, and it's live with Pete Altieri. That's the bald guy from Murder Metal Mayhem. Come on, kids, scream out! Serial killer story hour, yeah! Serial killer story hour, yeah, yeah! How about one more time with some balls, kids? Yeah. Serial killer story hour, yeah! Horns high, high, high.
There you go. How about that? How about that? That's some people, questioning how long the intros were, whether I'm screaming, whether my grandson's saying Murder Metal Mayhem. You're not going to make everybody happy, all right? You're not going to make everybody happy, but I thought that I love kids, love my grandchildren, my own children. I love being around them, and so yeah, I thought that was fun. And at the end, they're all cheering, jumping up, and throwing their hands up in the air. So my mom says that she loves it. That's good, Mom. You're supposed to love it, but I appreciate you saying that anyway. That yeah, make them an offer they can't refuse, right? So all right. So let's see who got the right answer. Well, I know Isle of Shoals was the first one, but I think Isle of Shoals is outside the U.S. if I'm not mistaken. Maybe I'm wrong. If I am, I'm sorry. But if not, you're correct, Isle of Shoals. And if so, you can send it to Pete at Murder Metal Mayhem, and you'll get a free sticker. Karis, I think, is already on the list for a sticker. So if you're not Karis, then email me with that subject line so I don't forget you. But I'm trying to get a better system down here. Did they find anything in Bundy's car? Oh my gosh, I'm sure they did. He was a mess. He found the murder kit in his car. That's how they busted him with that when they caught him in Florida. So yeah, he was found with the kit in his car, and I don't know what kind of DNA they were doing at that time, being the year it was. But yeah, I mean they had him with the kit in the car. And the bite. Remember the bite? They did the dental cast of it, and they matched it up with his teeth from the victim, which was very clever. That was one of the ways that they, were able to catch him, was with that bite. So let's see. Okay, Isle of Shoals said they won already. Okay. Yeah, The Godfather is great. I bought the 3-part on Blu-ray. My wife and I are going to jam out to that. But I just love that movie. It had been a really long time since I watched it. And I got this on TeePublic, this shirt. The quality's great. I was there in our store, and then I was browsing around, typed in The Godfather, and there's like 40 different shirts you can get. I mean, it's crazy. You type in whatever you like. You like a particular movie, a book, an author, an actor, serial killers, whatever you're into. I mean, they've got it. I mean, it's wild. It really is. Yeah, I think they did find hair too. I believe you're right, Jody, that they did find some hair. But yeah, the kit really did him in. We got Mark and Betty said 2 in this UK house watching you, Pete. Yes, you guys are awesome, man. And it's like the middle of the night. It's super early there. Like, what time is it there? Is it like 2 or 3 in the morning or something like that? So I appreciate you guys getting up and watching this with us. You guys are awesome. And we'll feature a UK one. You know, I've not totally decided. Oh, I did decide next week. We're going to go to Australia. We're going to go to Australia next week, and we're going to do a woman that you wouldn't want to be alone with in a room for 5 minutes. We're talking Catherine Knight. This chick is off the hook. I mean, violent, beating men up, beating up her husband with like a frying pan, fracturing his skull, skinned him in one piece. In one piece. She was so good with knives, she was able to do it in one piece, to the point where when he was at his funeral, the family wanted the skin put back on him because it was in one piece. So they put it on him like pajamas. How messed up is that? So we're gonna do that. We're gonna do that next week. You got that to look forward to, Catherine Knight. But then I think we need to go to the UK. I think we need to go to the UK. Some really good ones over there. The Moors Murderers. I've done that on the podcast. Fred and Rose West. What was the guy in Christie? Richard Christie. No, not Richard Christie. That's a drummer. What was his name? Christie, but his last name was Christie. But that guy was creepy. We did that on the podcast as well. So there's a lot of them there in the UK we could do. Definitely some really good ones. Worse than Shabusiness? I don't know, Mom. I mean, Catherine Knight and Taylor Shabusiness would be one hell of a fight. But Catherine Knight was like, man, she was a big woman and she threw people around. She fought in bars, drinking with the guys. Like, she was a beast, and she worked in an abattoir, which is a slaughterhouse. And she had her knives. Her husband was so terrified of her, she kept her knife collection up on the wall in full display, and that's where he slept. And then eventually he gets away from her, but then the boyfriend gets the skinning. Yeah, it's pretty disgusting. So I would say it's probably a notch worse than Shabusiness, only because Shabusiness did her business in one night, whereas Catherine Knight was just over a period of time. This went on. This was not just a one and you're done. It's a nasty one. So yeah, it's pretty wicked. But Catherine Knight with a K. Catherine with a K and Knight with a K. But yeah, she's still alive. She's in prison in Australia. They don't do life without parole there. They do like life, and then you get an option for parole after like 20 or 25 years. But she's never getting out of there. She's never getting out of there. It's a good one, though. All right. Does anybody else have anything they want to bring up for next week? Again, I really appreciate you guys all coming out, especially our friends overseas in the UK watching. And next week we'll do Catherine Knight, so that'll be good. And I've got so many I can do. I'm just like really just randomly picking through. But we'll keep at it. And I'm going to start doing some T-shirts for these lesser known killers, the ones that interest me, like a Catherine Knight maybe would be a good one. And I'm going to do a certain style of T-shirt with multiple serial killers, but it's going to do it to promote this Serial Killer Story Hour. So hopefully we get some new viewers and we build it. I'm hoping to build it, but I don't mind doing this for a small group at all, honestly, guys. I just like talking about true crime. And I'm honored that you guys want to sit down and listen to me and put up with my silliness. But I hope you like the new intro. I got many more ideas that I'm going to throw at the Blunt Force Band to see if they can come out and bring it. So we'll see. But until then, you guys be good. And thank you very much. I'll throw this up there in case anybody wants to do any of that. But I appreciate it very much, guys, and we'll see you next Tuesday. I'll be live this Sunday, not Saturday, Sunday at 4 p.m. for an open discussion live on true crime like we've been doing. So we'll do that Sunday at 4 Central.